Brian here this week. So joining me is Brian Benalla. Brian,
certainly don't look as good as Gary, that's for sure. Daniel, good afternoon, good evening to you.
Yeah, going well. It's been a busy week in motorsport. We've got Chris Lewis-Williams on the line as well this week as a special guest to be able to give us some insight into the world of the AASA, the Benalla Auto Club, and all the things going on around with the AMRS and other things like that. So we'll probably shouldn't waste any time in getting him on. He's waiting,
big couple of weeks
for us.
it,
So yeah,
well.
exactly. It's a good time to have him on. So Chris, thank you for joining us. We'll bring you up on screen and go from there. There he is. Thank you, Chris.
Hello guys.
How you going?
Yeah, really well.
You need
Really
to
well.
turn
Yourself?
Sorry, just a second. I've given us a technical drama straight off the bat. So let me just fix this. There we go, Brian here this week. So joining me. There we go. How's that? That's going to help make things sound a bit better for everybody. Now, though, people won't have music playing.
Check
through
1,
the back
2.
of it. There you go. Yeah, we have you. You're all good. It was at our end.
Check 1, 2.
Was there? Yeah, no problem. So I guess
Awesome.
Thank you for coming on, Chris. Great to have you here and have a bit of a chat about what's going on in the world of Benalla Auto Club. Now, you're up at Bathurst this week and a few good things going on up there for you guys.
Am I at Bathurst, Daniel?
No?
Not sure. Am I?
Okay. No, maybe not.
No, most definitely we are. The world knows about the 5th Bathurst date and the submissions that were put in. So we're here supporting Mountain Motorsports as an opportunity to open up a pretty exciting event for
100%.
for both Mountain Motorsports, for Bathurst City Council, and for AASA. So.
Is there anything that you can share with us tonight, Chris, about what you guys are looking for? Because obviously now it started with about 7, obviously, parties. It's now down to 3. You guys, supercars, and also, obviously, cams and things like that. So is there any light that you can shed on what you guys might be looking to possibly venture up with there at Mount Panorama?
What I can share, Brian, is that the event plan is super exciting, and it's different to what is currently held at the other 4 dates for Bathurst. And the preliminary submission was really, really good, really positive. And yeah, look, we'll put our best foot forward tomorrow night, and I hope it's enough. You know, it'll be a really exciting development for the circuit, and a partnership with Bathurst City Council and for AASA and the Benalla Auto Club. So yeah, we'll put our best tap dancing shoes on tomorrow night and say our piece and see how we go.
Yeah, definitely. Now, one of the things that people probably don't realise a lot about you guys at Benalla Auto Club and the sanctioning body of the AASA and all of that is the case of AASA. Sorry, I'm getting myself mixed up. I'm thinking AMRS because it's in front of me.
Careful with your acronyms, Daniel.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I'm getting carried away here as we go. But
I'll belt some over the head for you.
For sure. I'm going to need it later for sure. Is just that thing of, though, to be honest and open with everybody, is that you guys are involved in so many different types of motorsport. Like, it's not just circuit racing for you. There's tarmac rally, there's off-road, there's rally, there's, sanctioning pretty much everything you guys now, and you've actually opened that up again even further this week with some new information coming out.
Yeah, so I mean, the Benalla Auto Club is for a Northern Victorian-based car club to own 2 racetracks, Winton Raceway and Wakefield Park. And then have a sanctioning body on the side, and then develop last year into running a series, which is the AMRS. We're just here as an alternative for motorsport. So our job is to communicate out what we offer as a sanctioning body and as a way to support grassroots motorsport through to state level, and now with AMRS at national. And the customer feedback seems to be we're doing an okay job. We like to think that we react to the customers, and we're just there to provide an alternative, and being owned by a car club that's run by the members. To hose down one of the arguments that always put against us, that every dollar we make by the Benalla Auto Club constitution has got to go back into motorsport. So we're fortunate that goes back into investing in tracks and growing our businesses.
Yeah. Now, speaking of that, just on the tracks issue, I mean, it'll come up later on in the show, last week with the 100-kilometre enduro for the HQ Holdens. Great show on HQ Extra the other day, just to give a quick plug to one of our other shows. If you want to see some HQ racing, head over there. But the thing that was really interesting about that is the MRA is also run under your sanctioning, amongst other race meetings, and they run at Sydney Motorsport Park and other circuits of the like without issue, which shows, I think, it's not, a lot of people think just Winton Wakefield with you guys, but there's a lot broader range to circuit racing.
Yeah, we deliberately, sort of 4 years ago, separated our businesses. Mm-hmm. Historically, we were sort of always seen in the one bucket, so we very deliberately separated the club from the circuits, from the AASA, and recruited the right staff. We very carefully make sure we put motorsport people in motorsport jobs, and we've got some really passionate guys running our circuits, involved with the AASA, to make sure that we get motorsport. We're not collar and tie wearing dudes. We're guys that have driven cars, held spanners, pit crewed, stood on flag points. Motorsport as a business doesn't make a lot of sense, as you two well know.
Yeah, for sure.
We spend money we don't have on stuff we don't need.
Sounds like anyone involved in motorsport heard that line a few times.
100%.
But we're really lucky to be able to work in our passion, as you guys are, and we're just out there trying to tell our story and show people that we do a lot of permits at the Bend, we do permits at Sydney Motorsport Park, our circuits, a lot of Wanneroo, Hidden Valley, up into Queensland. So we're just trying to show that we're a viable alternative, and if we are, we'd like to be chosen. If we're not, then we'd like to know why we weren't chosen, and hopefully we can fix that in the future.
100%. Speaking of being a viable alternative, the biggest thing that you guys have put up in the last 2 years, which we've had great pleasure in being involved with and absolutely love every moment, every round, it seems to go from strength to strength. The off-season was probably a little bit rough just because of how the motorsport landscape as a whole changed, as everybody knows, with some significant changes elsewhere, which caused domino effects through the whole industry. But the AMRS has really become a flagship event for you guys. I guess for people who are interested, what's the goal? What's the driving force behind that?
So as an event promoter, we wear lots of different hats here at the BAC. So we take our BAC hat off and our AASA hat off, and then we put on our AMRS circuit promoters. So we saw a gap for certain classes that wanted more than state racing. So we see our job as nothing more than providing the dance floor. So with AMRS, which is a division of the Benalla Auto Club, it promotes the events, and this year run really well by Kevin Stoopman and Prue Payne. Both, really, Kevin with his background in state-based motorsport and national motorsport, and Prue's been a motorsport administrator from the Sandown days. So we've got a great team running that series, and we want to put on a series that allows category managers that want to do more than state, but perhaps can't do Shannon's, or Shannon's Nationals, the CAMS Shannon National, to give it a correct definition, to give them an opportunity to race at circuits outside your state. So now the conversations that we have with the different categories, that's what we want to do, provide them an opportunity to create a national series if they want. If you're a good, strong state-based category, come on in. So the opportunity for next year is that we'll end up with a 7 or 8 round series at 7 or 8 tracks, which should give the categories a really good base if they want to jump on board and have it call it their national series.
Chris, when you look at it, obviously next weekend with the Bend and places like that, I mean, we're talking now of a world-class facility. I mean, how much this event, I guess, because of such a world-class facility that's going to be at?
Yeah, look, Sydney Motorsport Park last year was a big test for us. We were given the opportunity to work with super trucks, which bolted onto the AMRS round. It's a good team that are learning how to run that facility. And we do all kinds of permits changing hats again, from a AASA perspective. We do a lot of work with them on drive days and practice days and all kinds of days. So it wasn't a big extension from the sanctioning point of view to go to a race meeting. But obviously the scale, with 28 TA2s, I think, and 20-something GT1s, and the RX8s will be there. And so, it wasn't a great leap, Brian. But again, if you partner up with the right people, it's not difficult to get the job done.
And what sort of places do you eye off next? Because I guess for a lot of the competitors, look at you.
Wait.
The power's just got out of
Put him in the dark.
We forgot to pay the bill.
That or it's one of those settings, are you still here?
Yeah, right.
And they come up on the Foxtel the other day. I thought, you've got to be kidding me.
Mid-race,
That's enough.
Yeah. Now I've lost where I was going with that. Tracks, yeah. Where are you eyeing off next? Because I guess you've got to be mindful of the travel time, the travel cost for a lot of the competitors too, don't you?
Yeah, look, we're very close to being so different hats. So from an AMRS perspective, we just want to put together a calendar and a series that makes sense, that the competitors can afford to do, that allows them to be either an extension of their state series or a national series. So we'll work with each category individually to move the chess pieces around, and the motorsport calendar in Australia is really crowded already. So everybody plays chess, moving their pieces to where they want to be. From an AASA perspective, there's only a few tracks at the moment that we've not yet permitted, and they're the conversations that we're having now. So we've had great conversations with John Tetley and Keith up at QR, and there's a very strong chance we'll be at QR. There's a circuit in the Northern Territory that's also of great interest to us. And there's an island-based circuit in Victoria that we're having some great conversations with. So we just want to put ourselves up as an alternative, make sure that the customer feels comfortable with the protection that the policies give them. And then once that hurdle's passed, then it just opens up the opportunity to do a whole range of stuff for us.
You've got to be the world's busiest man, right?
Got a bit on, mate. Got a good team, mate. Got a good team. We make sure, going back to the motorsport thing, from crawling underneath cars at 2 a.m. in the morning to make sure you make the race meeting, you do what's got to be done. And that's the team, that we've built through Winton Wakefield and AASA and AMRS. We've got good dudes that get motorsport, that understand competitors and understand the administration, and it's going really well for us.
It's great to see as well that you guys are not afraid to expand out of your own circuits and go chasing those opportunities elsewhere. So I guess, speaking of that, what do you see as the next big horizon for AMRS? Like, what sort of category would you love to see? Because you've got some strong categories there already. No huge goals right away, Daniel. It's just making sure we're delivering product for the customer. For sure. We don't want to tell people to sanction with us. We want people to choose us. The world's a competitive place, and if we're providing the right race meeting at the right price at the right venues, that makes up the calendar that makes sense to them, we shouldn't be telling them, please come. There's some great categories out there that have had trouble moving calendars around to try and make a national series, and we just want to make sure that the offer that we've got looks good to them, makes sense to them, and if it is, we could fill ourselves with 8 categories that travel the country doing AMRS, and that creates the national series. So, motorsport promotions are a bit of a roller coaster. Different tracks cost different money, and you've got to make sure you attract the competitors, because effectively, the competitors fund the event. So, just make sure that we continue to build it. This is year 2. We've got really strong plans for year 3. And we'll just continue to talk to the guys that have come on the journey so far, and invite anybody else that wants to come along. One of the core principles of what you guys do, of course, is the competitor. I guess for those people who are sitting back watching right now and wondering, I guess, what do you guys do for the competitor? What's, aside from, we talked a lot about making it accessible, what's some of the other things that you guys get up to assist the competitors with what they're doing?
Yeah, we broke up a little bit, but from what I gathered, the question's about competitors.
Yes, assisting them with their promotion, with their able to run events. I mean, I know you guys provide the dance floor, but I know that you do so much more than it's like we were there when the trucks came to town, for example, and it was so much more than just providing a dance floor. There was so many other aspects that you guys stood up, went into bat, did what you needed to do to make it happen.
Well, that's you want to help people go car racing. We're in this passion-based sport, and there's legislative things that you've got to comply to, and there's track licenses, and there's working with circuit owners to make sure they're comfortable, and you do what's got to be done, and we are spoiled that from the circuit owner we understand the risks involved in having circuits and running events on your circuit, and you just make sure that you put all the pieces in place that keeps the customer happy, and if you can put the event on, we're not doing this to make $1 million.
For sure.
We're doing this to make sure that motorsport continues to grow. That what's the good old joke? You want to make a fortune in motorsport, you start with a big fortune.
Exactly.
We just want to make sure that we continue to make sure we open every door and give the guys the opportunity to race where they want to race in the series they want to race in at whatever level. Be that club sprints at Winton, a track day at Wakefield, a driver training day at Queensland Raceway, whatever that be. Our goal is to enable that to happen with the least amount of stress, and making sure that everybody's still got cover, that everybody still feels safe.
Speaking of cover, and I guess that ability to have everybody provide a home, one of the categories, or two of the categories that are going to be on with the AMRS and at the Bend as well is Formula Ford and Formula 3 are joining you guys with select rounds this year and things like that. What's it mean to you to be able to provide a home for these categories that are the platforms for international motorsport for so many drivers?
I mean, that's where it all starts from. You watch the guys come through from karts to cars, and trying to develop a career. We were really lucky, and as a business, we're really fortunate. You see a supercar round, and you know what's involved with the supercar round, and to be able to invite not only Formula Ford, but we invited Hyundai Excel. That gives some state-based guys, a chance to be on the big show, and they got Foxtel coverage, and they provided great racing, and we're really fortunate that as a business we can provide people that opportunity. And so, walking through the pits at the end of Sunday's supercar round, you walk past the presentation dais, and there's 6 current supercar drivers presenting trophies to the current Formula Ford guys. And there's not many sports where that interaction can happen. You've got the rock stars of supercar land, talking about their Formula Ford experience, and you've got, one of the guys in Formula Ford, I don't know his name, sorry, but he's got to be 14 or 15. He's jockey size, but I think he won a race over the weekend. And you just look at those guys, and they're looking up. There's only a 10 or 15 year age gap, but they're looking up to those guys because that's where they want to be. So there's Anton and Dave Reynolds, and they're all there chatting about how Formula Ford set themselves up. So look, that's a great category. I've been a state-based racer in Victoria for 15 years. Formula Ford, you're always hanging off the fence watching those guys.
How important are those weekends for you guys, Chris? Because obviously, no doubt, there's probably so much that they can take off you guys in terms of a learning experience, but then I guess there's some things that you could take from them. So how important is that week or those weekends where you team up with supercars to try and change the landscape a little bit of how things are actually done?
Mate, we're a little player in that pond. We're one of only 3 or 4 independent promoters on the supercar bill. We've certainly over the past 3 or 4 years worked hard to turn our event in and focus on our strengths, which is about being in Northeast Victoria, which is about being grassroots motorsport, which is about being a great facility for campers where they can camp and watch all in the one place. So yeah, look, supercars is a really tough weekend for us. It's a big chunk of the Winton budget for the year. We don't do it by importing 50 people to help us out. The same core team runs really hard and delivers, not only, we deliver one week and supercars are next. It's full on. But, this year we delivered a great event. And to be able to invite categories that normally wouldn't get to play on the big show, I think as a business that kind of makes us feel good that we're helping out, categories on the way through.
There's a bit of a question mark, I guess, around the future of that particular event at Winton. Is there a deal locked in place for 2020 and onwards?
currently in negotiations, Brian. So we've got some great
hitting there, mate. we're a weekly grassroots show, not the hard-hitting question.
I'll tell you what, with an answer like that, he could take Scott Morrison's job within the next couple of weeks.
I didn't know I was coming on a current affair, Brian. Come on, be nice. So, look, we've got some great partners we've developed over the past 3 or 4 years. So through Visit Victoria, they've supported our event for the past 3 years, and we were fortunate. Supercars were able to work with Truck Assist, so we had great branding, and the event sort of stepped up a level for this year. So, we're quietly confident that we can put together, the next deal. I think this year's event showed that, the guys that love coming to Winton will continue to love coming to Winton for all those reasons about, a packed support card and a circuit that's a challenge to the supercar guys. And we'd like it not to be in May with the snow. If we could bring it forward a little bit to give ourselves a chance to highlight northeast Victoria with some blue sky and some sun. That'd be really nice. But it's such a busy calendar, we've just got to slot in where we can.
It's actually a critical thing that you mentioned with the whole calendar and the way that the weather works, I guess. Oh, here we go. Now I'm talking about the weather. I didn't think that'd be the case.
You think he was on the news?
Yeah, I know. Just going back to the whole event at Mount Panorama, because when you talk to a couple of people, when do you actually try and put that fifth event into the whole calendar? Because obviously being Bathurst, middle of June, July, when there is nothing on between the 6 hour and the 1000, that's not going to be easy because obviously it's going to be damn cold.
Brian, you've worked it out. We're putting on a snowmobile event.
Yeah.
Oh, breaking. There we go.
There we go. Happy days.
We've got laughs from the control room on that one, so that's great.
Yeah.
You're right. I suppose out one every 40 years up at Mount Panorama, because it's a bit of a sinkhole, believe it or not. But there we go. A bit of artificial snow from Threadbone. Should be right.
All we can do is
you're right.
Photo. Sorry.
The calendar at the beginning of the year with get the name right, Superloop, Grand Prix. It's a really busy start to the year, and it ramps up really quickly. So, you've just got to find the date, but also you got to find the customers too. So, the market that we're pitching for might not be that traditional, current motorsport market, and that date should slot in, in that first part of the year. Not too bad.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Question for you, I think, just I'm thinking back to some of the things we talked about previously with where your history is in motorsport. I guess something to think about, and maybe you could talk a little bit to this, is when I first met you, you were racing Porsche 944. You were part of that club and winning fairly regularly down there because you'd got yourself around the car and got that whole undertaking going well, but.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that you have employed, I know, you've got HQ races, you've got production car races, you've got yourself with that production car and 944 sort of background. Mm-hmm. Do you think having these backgrounds in motorsport actually at the grassroots, at the entry level, with the guys who, can't afford more than the trailer and the car and turning up at the event, gives you a much better understanding of how to put on these events that will help people grow into motorsport? Do you know what I mean? Because you're not coming at it from purely just a business standpoint of I've run successful businesses. You're coming from it at the point of I know what it's like to turn up with the trailer and the car, and if I write this car off, I'm done for the year.
Look, it's certainly perspective, Dan. We don't come from it, with an unlimited budget. So, look, it all just helps your understanding of how motorsport works and how. If we can assist a category that might give them a leg up, or assist a competitor that gives them a leg up, or demystifies how to start. There's people out there that have never been on a track and think it's the most mystical thing in the world. But to show up at a license evaluation day, or a driver training day, or a test and tune day, and it's not that mystifying, and help guys go, maybe I can do this motorsport thing at whatever level you choose. And you look at where you look at the category like Excels, which in 3 or 4 years has built, I'm not sure what the number is now, but it's got to be over 300 cars. So there's a market for grassroots entry-level motorsport out there that needs, they found a market, and so our job, is to continue to help categories and drivers and competitors. And some people don't want to race. Some guys start racing and work out that having 20 other crazy people try and attack a corner next to them isn't what they want to do. They like driving fast, but they don't really like the race part. So it's helping people find their level and get their enjoyment. And who knows where we're going? We're talking autonomous cars, we're talking electric cars, we're talking. This morning on the radio it was Uber helicopter things going from Melbourne CBD to the airport. So what?
Did you not hear that talk?
I don't listen to the radio.
Uber announced their
Yep.
So what in 10 years? What's going to be racing around a circuit? Is it a guy on a remote control car, full size? Who knows? So we've just got to continue to listen and work and make sure that we're working with the guys coming forward. Winton now does Formula SAE in December each year. That's a ripper event. That shows you the passion that's in young engineers and young drivers. For 3 or 4 days at Winton, just playing with really trick bits of kit that they've built themselves. So that's what we want to do from start to finish. It's great that we're able to be involved.
Good to see. As we see you being involved as well, probably going to the higher end of the echelon, is you started this year with working tightly with the guys behind it, GT1, last year, at the start of last year you started GT1.
Yep.
And had quite humble beginnings with, a dozen cars turning up at Benalla, which is not really a track that people think of for GT1, but in its defence, produced some brilliant racing, and I would very happily go back to Benalla and watch GT racing around that place.
Benalla is a great bit of road.
100%. But I guess from that perspective, how do you see the GT1 thing developing? We know GT in this country has been so strong for so long, but it's sort of been one of those interesting things to watch in the last year that GT1 just keeps getting stronger. What are you guys doing to maybe nurture that and help it develop as well?
I'd love to take the credit, but it's not us. It's working with a good partner. It's working with guys that understand their customer, understand their competitor, putting together race meetings and events that make sense for the guys that have got the cars. So that relationship very much for us is about with an AMRS hat on.
Yep.
That's about dance floor. That's about working with them to make sure that we're on the tracks that they want to be on to make a series. And like you said, at the start of this year, we had some bumps with calendar, and that knocked around the GT guys. But to their credit, they were able to find some events that got themselves to Bathurst, and now from the Bend going forward, AMRS looks pretty good for them. So from an AMRS promoters hat on, our goal now is to make sure that next year's calendar makes complete sense to them and their cars and their customers, so that they come and play across the board rather than have to go shopping for other events.
For sure. I'm going to cut Brian off because I know he also had a question, but just because we have a question from the audience, so we should get that through so that we can keep this involvement going on, because what it's all about on this show is making sure that people can be involved as well. But Chris Lowe's asked the question, you guys are growing so quickly at the AASA at the moment. Are there new track activities and concepts that you've seen recently that have really caught your attention that you're thinking, this is something new and interesting that could be cool to be involved with? Or I guess you sort of spoke about that with the Uber flying drone thing, but maybe something more on the ground.
It's very much up to the promoter. So you end up with drift, with burnout, with off-road, so we're really at the beck and call of a promoter, at the guy that comes up with the idea and says, can I do it? And then you go, well, okay, let's have a look at it. Let's look what the rules look like. Let's look at what the framework looks like. And if it makes sense and it fits our risk categories, then we're happy to go ahead. So, they just come out of conversations every day, from, maybe there's a land speed record proposal in front of us at the moment. Maybe there's all kinds of stuff. So we just continue to take the phone calls from the customers and go, I think we can do that, and we just build a framework around it.
Pick up the phone and have a chat to them. Going back to Benalla, one of the ones we talked about with that is that circuit has the ability to have some evening and into night racing. Is that potentially on the agenda for something like the AMRS? Could we see that in the future?
Oh,
I put you on the spot here. That was just one that we were talking about in the office last week, and thought that'd be really cool. So
yeah. Thank you today tonight. Yeah. So no, it's it comes down to do the competitors want it? Can it fit the budget to make it happen? And if there's a desire to make it work and it's going to pay for itself, why would you not? It gives guys a chance to do something that they wouldn't normally do. So they're all just ideas, and you just keep throwing them up in the air and see which ones land on top and have a go.
One question coming in from 1K Stoopman, who I think is on holiday somewhere at the moment, is that he has heard of rumour Rally X wants to come back to Winton. Can you tonight that for us?
K Stoopman. That name rings a bell.
I know you've been thrown under the
bus. So we have a track sitting there at Winton that we've invested a chunk of money in. Yep. We'd love to see them come back. It's so much emotion, chicken and egg.
Yeah, for sure.
So through Wayne Williams, we committed to build the track, and they supported us for a while. Then it sort of fell away, and again, the venue's there. So if we can turn that into an event that washes its face, absolutely. We'd love to be. It's you look at that stuff from the UK with 6 crazy guys all plunging into a corner trying to crash into each other, and man, it looks like good fun. So we'd love to work on that, but we can't say yes to everything. So each category's got to come up with a plan to make it work, and we've got an ability and a place to make it happen. So if Kay Stoopman is interested in helping out,
I think he had something to do with trailers back in the day.
Yeah, maybe he'll have some great ideas to bring that to life.
I just want to hit on the little bit you said in the middle there, which is probably something that even I don't really know about. Is what's the process? You say this whole come to us with an idea and stuff, but like, there's a process definitely for what you want to see from people. So what boxes do they need to tick because they can't just knock on the door at your office and say, I've got a great idea, we're going to jump trucks over rallycross cars as rally cars go down the side next to the spectators. Like, what do they need to be showing you that they've thought about for an event if they're calling you? Because we don't want needless calls that are just about crazy pie in the sky ideas.
Oh no, so it's every event starts from a concept. So you take the Stadium Super Truck thing. So we knew what it was, right? Mm-hmm. So in terms of working with our insurance partner, it was about them getting an understanding of what you mean they jump these trucks. So once there was an understanding around that, and actually working with, for all his reputation of being a bit of a wildcat, Robbie Gordon, his safety eye he was great to work with,
Sure.
Where you'd think that he was the guy that wanted to make sure the trucks hit the jump at the fastest speed, and no, he was about closing the gap from the apex to the jump, because he knew that once the guys worked out how to make the things corner, they'd be going too fast, and they'd be hitting the jumps too fast. So he was great to work with, as with all those guys. So, but in terms of other events, you get burnout guys come to you. You've got drift events, and nothing's mystical. It's all about cars doing stuff. Mm-hmm. I have seen some of that figure 8 racing stuff on YouTube that they do in America.
Good fun. I can't wait to see that again.
I'm not sure about that one.
Good luck.
That might be a tough sell.
I know at least half a dozen people who would build cars tomorrow if you announced that there was a figure 8 racing.
So,
good luck getting it through the safety procedures. That's all I say.
Yeah. So, but Dan, everything's an idea, and if it fits nicely into one of our current categories, it's actually quite easy to get up. Mm-hmm. It's when it starts coming outside the norm that you've got to do a bit of work, but it's about procedure and protocol, and nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. Nobody wants to go in an event and deliberately damage themselves, unless you're doing a derby, but you want to damage the car, not the person. So it's you just look at it and make sure it makes sense, and the guys running the event understand it. Mm-hmm. And then you just work hard to help them get it across the line.
Just to go back to figure eight racing, just to tell you both a little story about that, because I've actually been over to the States and watched some of that. There's one, they take it next level. It's figure eight train racing. They take three cars, they weld them together. Driver at the front has the gas and the steering. The driver at the back has the brakes, and they're only allowed to communicate with hand signals. So how's that for something else? Like, that's right up there as willing to take yourself out.
What could possibly go wrong?
What's going to happen with that? Kate Elphiston asks, can we have lawnmower racing at Wakefield Park? I think that would fit within
that'd be great.
some bounds, surely.
What? Sorry, can we have more what?
Lawnmower racing at Wakefield Park.
Well, that would certainly mow the grass quicker at Goulburn, I tell you. So let's design that circuit, and instead of us paying for somebody to mow the lawn, we'll get it done during the race.
We'll get on to Dean. He'll be right behind that one.
Absolutely.
The other one that's being brought up by a few members of the audience also is there's the news that has been out, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, about the AASA expanding into New Zealand. You guys now sanctioning over there. I know that there was a lot of hard work behind the scenes with that one, with some of the conversations that have been going back almost a couple of years, it feels like now, with ideas for expansion and things like that. How's that all coming together for you? What are you guys finding over there talking to those guys?
That's a partnership agreement for us. So again, it's working with guys that get motorsport that don't like or see ways to do it better. So we got introduced to that market by 24 Hours of Lemons, and that introduced us to the market. Then there was an opportunity with some of the more traditional motorsport stuff over there through Tarmac Rally and the like, and it just makes sense. There were guys over there that wanted to do it. There was a way that we could make that framework happen with our insurers. So it just made sense. So, and it gives the same choice into the New Zealand market that we hope we're providing into the Australian market. And that's all we want to do. If we're the right person to partner with, please choose us. If we're not, let us know why, and we'll try and fix it. But it's about being able to choose the way that you want your event to run.
Question from the audience as well. Paul Bloodworth asking, is there any news on the AASA licence age being lowered?
License age being lowered. So it's okay in every state but New South Wales.
Yep.
So New South Wales is the only state that runs motorsport under a piece of legislation. So we're working with the Department of Sport and Rec, and the age isn't blanket. It's, if you actually look at all the documentation, it's about certain categories. So not every category can go down to 14 years of age. There's certain categories that you can, and we're working really closely actually with the Department of Sport and Rec to get that to happen. So hopefully not too far away.
Yeah, because Paul's just pointing out that lots of guys and girls who are young want to join them at Series 3 New South Wales, which we saw a bit of on the weekend at your event, and it was absolutely brilliant. Like your sanctioned event, sorry, not your event as an MRS run event, but absolutely brilliant to see some of the racing as entry level.
Yeah, and I think as a category, Excel, it wouldn't be difficult to get that ticked off as a low level and a low. Don't let the Excel guys attack me, but a lower performance entry level race vehicle. Yeah. A go-kart's got more grip. It's probably power to weight's better, so it wouldn't be a big leap. Yeah.
For sure. So I guess they just need to have a chat with you guys and help work with that as well, as everybody does.
Yeah, you bet. And customers help. So if there's a volume of people out there that want it to happen, their support helps us have those conversations with government.
Definitely. And how are those conversations with government going on all the fronts that you guys have going on? Do you find yourself with a great working relationship with them now? I know you've spent a lot of time nurturing those relationships, getting the right contacts and making sure you're talking to the right people.
That's the world we live in. So, you can do it with a stick or you can do it with a carrot. So we'd rather work with than against.
Yep.
And that's where the support from people in the industry makes sense. That motorsport covers a whole lot of levels in a whole lot of different disciplines, and the more people that are working with us, we can get more stuff done.
just thought of a question now. I was going to say we'll let you go, but I've got one more question that I thought I might quickly ask, because Brian is heavily involved with it in the summer months. Speedway for you guys was something we haven't been contacted on. You're heavily involved now. You're getting more and more sort of sanctioning with those guys.
Bits and pieces. So Speedway operates very differently to circuit racing. So working with different promoters and categories. So we came to Speedway out of wingless sprints. So they're wingless. So you take a sprint car chassis and you take a wrecked Commodore and you bolt an LS1 in it and take the wing off it and go and have a crack, which sounds like really good fun.
Yeah.
So they weren't able to get some sanctioning via Speedway Australia. They came to us. We were able to support some events in some more rural speedways initially. So it just evolves, you know. Each category, each speedway, we just work with each different opportunity as it comes up, providing it makes sense and we can do it safely. We'll just keep working with them. So, we're having good conversations in different states about taking over bigger portions of the sanctioning, but it does operate. The way our insurance, our permit system runs is very different to the way Speedway runs, and also the level of insurance we provide is different. So we've just got to make sure everybody understands what it is and how it works, and if it makes sense for everybody and it gives them a chance to race their particular vehicle, then we'll make it work.
No problem. Well, I think you're good.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we've delved pretty deeply into some heavy hitting issues here as well, and taken 45 minutes of your very, very valuable time, especially with
it's all good.
Big events.
It's all good.
We're looking forward to getting to the Bend with you guys in just over a week's time. That's going to be a huge one, and of course live stream on AMRS page and the Blendline page, so make sure for people to tune in there, and we might wrap you into that one as well when there's a break in the schedule, which I know is very busy, but might be able to have a chat to you there about a few things if anyone else has further questions. So thanks, Chris. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll have you back on hopefully in a few weeks or something to have a bit more of a chat.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks for the opportunity, and thanks for the questions.
Too easy.
We'll catch up soon.
Thank you, Chris. Take care. So back to us in the studio. There we go. And Chris is off. We will be in touch later with him. I'll just disconnect the call so he knows we're all clear. There we go.
Unless he wants to watch.
I was going to say you get a view in from another angle, but probably not what you want to be enjoying. But I'll tell you what, pretty interesting all the stuff that they're involved with, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be able to find that from the other side of the fence. We see a lot more of the media side in what we do.
Yeah, that's right. It's good to get an understanding of just how many hats I guess he has to wear, and
definitely
just how tough it is to try and manage obviously all the different events that happen around Australia as well, which isn't easy. And once you actually dive into the whole conversation of calendars and trying to find a space for certain events, it's almost a nightmare in itself.
I have a hard enough time with our calendars.
Yeah, I know.
Figure out where I'm going with a couple of people, and then these guys, want to run events and everything. Speaking of events, we were at one 2 weekends ago, a weekend before, we were at the HQ 100 kilometre endurance round at Sydney Motorsport Park, run with the MRA. We'll take a look at a few of the highlights there. You can also watch the Blendline TV full highlights package on our YouTube channel, and HQ Extra, which aired here last night with Wayne Healy and the boys. But we'll take a quick look at a few of the highlights now and a couple of interviews of what happened down there at Sydney Motorsport Park.
We're on the straight here at Sydney Motorsport Park with Peter from Sydney Veterans Lodge, mate. How's your day been? Beautiful ride around the track there. Bike's looking good. The car looks sensational. Enjoying your day so far?
Yes, the car does look sensational. It's been a great day so far. We're totally enjoying ourselves here. So the Sydney Veterans Lodge is a facility we're trying to build at Wentworthville to support current serving and ex-military members. We're not in lock-up stage yet, which means walls and a roof. We're just trying to get there, raise the funds to do that, and with as many means as possible. So people with donations or coming down and helping us on a Saturday with our working bees. That's where we're at the moment.
Mate, do you have a Facebook page or a website that people can get a hold of?
Yeah, we certainly do. If you want to get on Facebook and search up Sydney Veterans Lodge, you'll find us straight away. We have a GoFundMe page. We have working bees on Saturday, so get on the net and look us up and come down and support the veterans.
Well, everyone should support the veterans, because without your support we wouldn't have this beautiful country. So thank you very much for your service, your previous service, and mate, we look forward to bigger and better things from the Sydney Veterans Lodge.
Yes, thank you.
And Dwayne, I'll catch up with Dwayne. Thanks, Peter. Dwayne, the car looks fantastic. Again, because of this, the boys and a lot of these boys you know through serving. Got to be proud of yourself.
Mate, proud of them, mate. You know, proud of what they stand for. You know, this Sydney Veterans Lodge. You know, Pete sort of went into it a little bit, mate. But people that, you know, ex-serving members that are having troubles, that's what these guys are here for. You know, they're here to a shoulder to lean on. So, you know, don't be, you're not too manly to ask for help, mate. So please get on there, come and have a chat with the boys. Come out to the racetrack. We always have fun.
Well, mate, like I said, the car looks fantastic. Thank you to all the boys for coming out and enjoy the day, and appreciate your time. So all the best to you, mate. I've got the winner of the Sydney Veterans Lodge 100k race, John Baxter. Welcome to the podium once again.
Mate, it's awesome. I'm rapt to walk away with a win. It was a hard-earned win. So, yeah.
Mate, I thought there was a bit of a blunder when the safety car sort of like come out, the lights went off and you hadn't come in yet, where a lot of people used that option to come in while the safety car was out.
What happened was that the leader is a person who triggers the compulsory pit stop window, so I triggered it, and Chris Mole was actually, and some other guys were back further than they probably normally are, and the safety car helped them big time. They all came in a lap before me, and then they caught up in the safety car, and then I came in the next lap and just thought I had to chase them down.
Well, you done well. You chased them really well. You come away with the win, which was fantastic. I mean, look, were you panicking at any stage? Were you worried?
I didn't panic at all. I just said I just drive as fast as I possibly can, don't come off the track, and I just did that.
Were you happy with the way the car, obviously the car went great because you've won, but were you happy with the way the car is? Because now you're going to go up in this car to the 1 hour up in Queensland.
Yeah, well, I think the engine pace is spot on. It looked after its tyres. It did everything right. It's consistent. I think we're doing 2-minute laps consistently, which is very difficult to do, as you may understand. The car's awesome. I can't wait to race it again in a month's time.
You miss racing because you haven't been in the car for a while?
I do miss racing, yeah. I don't miss spending heaps of money.
Well, there you have it, mate. Well, congratulations once again. You're going to do this in the 1 hour up in Queensland with Brett Osborne, so I wish you all the best. Congratulations on the Sydney Veterans Lodge win here, mate, today, and look forward to bigger and better things in a month's time up in Queensland.
Yeah, thank you. I'd just like to thank Osborne's Transport again for the sponsorship this weekend. It's been awesome, so thanks, guys.
There you go, HQ 100 kilometre round at Sydney Motorsport Park. Plenty of action. Track limits up for discussion there as well.
I've seen the highlights that you put up over social media over the last couple of weeks, and my goodness, really, everyone was exploring the dust on the outside of turn one. It was crazy.
It was all on. It was absolutely brilliant racing at the MRA. The Pulsars, the Excels, and the Clubmans there as well with some great racing. So in the Clubmans, it was even Schreber.
Yes.
I can't say his last name. You can say it.
Yeah, no, I think you said it perfectly fine.
There you go. Yeah, you're not even going to have a crack at this. Mate, bailed
know,
out of it on me.
I know how this works.
He took both race victories there. The Pulsars was Matthew Boylan, who took a couple of race victories, and then in race 3, and some of the highlights you'll see in just a moment.
It's interesting to note, actually, the top 3 there are all former karters from the Sydney Motorsport Car Club out there, which is interesting to see as well. So obviously, they can, it's good to see guys stepping out of karts and obviously moving into something bigger there as well.
And then in Series X3, it was Jessica Martin who took the victory, and we got an interview with her before Ben Crossland took the second 2 victories of the race meeting with Series X3 XLs.
It's not easy, is it? When you read commentary, you try to say that.
You get going. 33 cars for them. Pulsars had 35, I think it was. So huge fields as well. And we caught up with both Matthew Boylan and Jessica Martin, and we've got a few highlights as well from the 2 categories with some raw footage. We'll play that through for you to get an idea of what those rounds were like for 2 great entry-level categories.
2 races down in round 4 of the Nissan Pulsar series here at Motor Racing Australia's Sydney Motorsport event. We've got Matt Boylan here with me at the moment, and he's had a up and down season, to say the least. Had a crash at round 2, but has really fought back well, just had a win, and is lining up to try and make it 3 from 3 today.
Yeah, that's right. Round 2, we rode a car off. We got turned around into 1, and yeah, we came back with a new car. Round 3 was a little bit hit and miss, and we had a couple of little issues here and there. But yeah, with this one we've got it hooked up now. So yeah, one more race to go. Hopefully we can win this one, and should be about 40 points sort of off the lead, maybe. So we're back in it, maybe.
And of course, this was the scene of where you had that incident the last time, and you were fair way out in front during the course of that race, but Harry Inwood was the one that was chasing you down towards the end.
Yeah, he's always really quick, Harry. So I think my car's a little bit more consistent over the whole race. Sort of there's about 2/10 in between sort of lap 2 and lap 20. Whereas Harry just throws out these crazy fast laps, which, you know, I'll never be able to keep up with him. So hopefully he loses them and we can have a good run. But it should be good. It'll be, I'll defend the whole race if I have to.
Third round of the Excel Series here in New South Wales. Here we are at Motor Racing Australia, Sydney Motorsport Park. Race 1 winner this morning was Jessica Martin, and she's a little bit over the moon about all this. First time on the winner's podium at the top, and of course 2 more races after that.
Yeah, so super stoked to take home the win. I was pretty lucky. The 2 in front of me were battling and they took each other out, so I came home with the win, and then finished P3 in race 2, and we just finished race 3 and I finished 4th, so super happy with the result.
What was the reaction around the pits with having that victory this morning?
Oh, Mum was pretty excited. I think she cried. Yeah, Mum was just super happy, which makes me feel good, so yeah, it was nice.
And then of course, moving on for the rest of the series, you must be pretty stoked. Getting that first win just gives you so much more confidence.
Yeah, definitely. I think our next round is here in July, so yeah, we'll have more confidence going into qualifying. Hopefully I can win a couple more races.
Okay. Second group, cars 5 and 6. Start the forward round.
racing there from the Pulsars and the Excels. We were loving it there on the weekend and just watching the replays. Well, so many cars, so much action every lap.
We were cracking ourselves through that. Some of those highlights were fantastic. I'm still wiping the tears away.
Brilliant stuff. So
it's great.
If you want to see some good racing, go and check out Series 3 Excels and the MRA and Pulsars out there as well. So
there's some seriously good racing there.
Good stuff, isn't it? It's absolutely brilliant. So get on to the MRA. I think they've got an event this weekend again out at Sydney Motorsport Park on Sunday. So probably get some good racing out of that one. We're going to kick things over and take a look at what's coming up for the AMRS next week at the Bend. We'll probably have an in-depth look on next week's show as time's going to start to get away from us here. We're already past the hour. But quality fields, Thundersports, 30 cars making the trek out there, which is just absolutely brilliant. We've got some footage of Thundersports racing to go on screen while we chat about it for a little bit, but absolutely astounding. John Rivesky from the club, pat on the back for what he's done. Incredible effort.
Well, it's funny. I was looking through some of their stats and things last night, and you look at as you said, the entry list, and some of the names are on there. I mean, look at Joel Heinrich straight off the bat. He's done a lot of racing this year. He's even done some sprint car racing down at Murray Bridge as well. He's a great character, a lot of fun. His friends give him a lot of stick as well, so looking forward to seeing how he goes. You can throw in the mix Daniel Flanagan, Matt Charter, who's done a lot of racing as well, Merrick Malouf. I mean, it's just insane.
And then you got Miles Bond, South Australian, who's actually picked up an old sports sedan, rebuilt it there as well. That's a Ford Escort, I think it is, with a big body kit and massive engine, of course. So there's the A and the B class. B class were both done on time, but there's a fastest lap time imposed on Class B. What you're seeing here on screen is a couple of the B class runners at round one. Corey Gillett in the Nissan Silvia that we're on board with. These guys just absolutely brilliant racing from the pair of them. If you want to watch some great racing, go and check it out on Blendline TV YouTube channel, because they just go at it for the whole race, passing position after position. And to be able to see 30 Thundersports making the trek out to the Bend for AMRS, that's going to be great to see thundering up the main straight.
Huge, isn't it? And of course, after the opening round here at Winton, obviously it was Corey Gillett that won 3 of the 4 races, leads the championship at the moment, 96 points over Mark Tracy on 88. Those two have got a fair old margin over the rest of the field. And of course, all those guys really Class B cars for next weekend in a couple of weeks' time, because there's only really 3 Class A cars once we get there at the Bend next weekend.
It's going to be incredible to see. And we've also introduced a hard charger award for the Class B field. So even more incentive to get in Class B. Spend your time driving cleanly, driving fairly, and making sure that you're increasing your speed throughout the weekend, and you'll be able to be up for that award at least once in a season, so somebody can't win it over and over again. Those terms and conditions are on the Thundersports Facebook page and website. If you go and have a look, just search Thunder Sports on Facebook. Also alongside them, we'll see a huge TA2 field, 27 cars for round 3 of their season. Sydney Motorsport Park, they were at Morgan Park with the AMRS last round out, and now to the Bend, where everyone will be looking to stop the charge of Aaron Seaton. Of course, getting in front of him was young Nathan Hearn at the last round.
Yes, great job for Nathan Hearn. He's really improved. I think he's been really trying to find the setup basically with that car over the recent few months, and just trying to make it work. Of course, for him stepping out of basically what was Formula Fords back in the day, for him to a car that is completely different than what he's used to. He was finding it difficult to begin with, but great young kid, starting to really make his way up through the field. But you've got to say that George Manecki is going to be the closest challenger to Aaron Seaton. Yes, there's a few actually. In fact, it's interesting to say, I think it was pouring with rain all morning. Well, it has been, because obviously the southern part of Australia's been copping it this week with the weather. But so I don't even know if many teams got much running today because of the way the weather was. So I did see, I think it was Greg Willis might have been down there. No, George Elliott, might have been down there. One of those Dream Racing Car Australia entries were down there. They were literally at 11 o'clock this morning having a cup of tea,
waiting for the weather to clear.
Didn't really do it, so
let's hope we're not doing that in 10 days' time when we go down there for the AMRS round. And then we got Mazda RX-8 Cup as well. Good field of cars with them. Aaron Dawson will be the man to beat assuming he's making the trip over there, which I believe he is. A little bit of a smaller field for RX8 Cup after it being such a long trek for them, but still quality racing coming from that bunch of cars as well. It's always been really close. Plenty of friendly individuals as well down in the pits. If you want to go and get yourself involved in a one-make racing series, RX8 Cup is pretty hard to go by at the moment.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Great category. But I know you were there, what was it, last week, checking out the place, the Bend?
Yep, we were down there having a look. Brilliant facility. Got a tour around from Wayne Williams and got to drive the track myself, which was interesting. It is
How many blind corners are there? Because I know there was a lot of talk about it.
2,700.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, right. Simple as that.
No. The most interesting thing that talking to Wayne about it, and we might have to try to sit down and have a chat to him while we're down there at the Bend and put it on the show here, is the international circuit, the regular circuit that the supercars use, that AMRS will be using, that other national events use, has a maximum of 5 degrees banking because of FIM rules with motorbike racing.
Yeah, true.
So there's not as much banking on that. But when you go to that back section of the circuit, they've just gone to town.
Really?
Blind corners, banking that you can just you can see, you can just push the car into it.
Yeah.
Flip-flop sections.
It's a shame that it hasn't been used much though.
No.
Yeah.
No, it adds to the circuit. I mean, it makes it a 7-kilometre circuit, but
yeah, it's all there for show though at the moment, isn't it?
At the moment, yeah. But it'll be interesting to see when they get the South Circuit finished with the pit lane and they can run just the South Circuit. That will definitely, you'll have the international circuit will be a horsepower track, and the South Circuit will very much be mechanical grip and agility. So good to see.
Such a cool venue though, with the hotel that's 100%. There over the pit lane and,
brilliant
and things like that.
Absolutely loved staying there. It was great to wake up and see the track main straight in the morning. It was pretty cool.
That's a kid's dream.
Yeah, right. If only it was a race meeting. I was contemplating how expensive those rooms
you were
would be
there
in
and you were driving around. You may as well call it a race meeting.
That's it. Just need to set a lap time. But we'll have live coverage here on Blendline TV next Sunday, which will be absolutely brilliant. Looking forward to that. It's going to be a full day. GT1 with them as well. But then after that, we might skip the historic stuff we were going to run this week, and we'll put it into next week's show, and we'll just go straight to have a look at the calendar for Gary O'Brien. We know he's having a couple of beers up in Perth, Darwin for the supercars around this weekend. He is up there. Gary's decided to leave us on our own and go to the warm.
I hear when they get together though at Darwin on a Wednesday night, things get a little bit...
shenanigans aplenty.
Yes.
I don't know.
Gary's known for that.
Gary is known for that.
So I've been told.
As you would be aware. But we'll go to Gary's calendar now and take a look at what is on this weekend in Australian motorsport.
Like graphic.
So we got the Vic State Race Series down at Winton Motor Raceway, round 3 of the weekend there. Then we'll go across to New South Wales. The Australian Legend Car Association are racing at Pheasant Wood for their 4th round on June 15th, that's Saturday. Then the Festival of Sporting Cars MRA on Sunday at Sydney Motorsport Park. I think that's just an MRA round now, with a few categories there. And then we head to Queensland and we've got the Moonumba Rally, 2nd round of the State Rally Championship up in Queensland across Saturday as well. So a lot happening on Saturday, a little bit less on Sunday around the nation. Busy times here at Blendline TV. It's been a packed show. Thank you very much to Chris Lewis-Williams for coming on. Brian, thank you very much as well for your time coming down.
That's all right.
Been a pleasure to have you on board for
fun.
this show. So hopefully we'll get to have Brian a couple more times into the future and get Gary back as well and give you some great insight into Australian motorsport. We hope you've enjoyed it here on Blendline TV yet again. Blendline TV Live, episode 16 this week. That's our wrap, and join us next week, 8 p.m. Thank you.